Town Council, Monday, June 24th. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Leona?
Councilor Gerlach?
Present.
Councilor Shabbat?
Present.
Councilor Lambert?
Present.
Councilor Roderick?
Present.
Councilor DiMederos?
Present.
Councilor Pelletier?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilor Aruda is absent.
Okay, our first two items, both groups are running a little late, so we're going to go to the consent agenda first. On the consent agenda, approval of the minutes of the regular council meeting June 14, 2013, approval of executive session minutes June 14, 2013, receipt of minutes from the following boards, commissions: Conservation Commission, Fogland, Open Space, Economic Development, Wastewater Management, Prevention Coalition, Pocasset Cemetery, Historical Cemetery, Zoning Board of Review, Tree Commission, and Annual Report. Correspondence received and filed. Attorney General, notice of Open Government Summit on August 2nd, 2013. Town of Foster, resolution supporting the Municipal Road and Bridge Revolving Fund. Jamestown Town Council, resolution opposing S322 Sub A and H5394 regarding assessing partially completed structures. 4, approval of tax assessors abatement. Town Treasurer Denise Sarot, distribution of May budget and revenue reports. Proclamation and appreciation of Reverend Peter J. Andrews. Approval of Town Council resolution opposing Bill 322 Sub A and House Bill 5394 regarding assessment of partially completed structures. Correspondence from FEMA relating to floodplain management measures to participate in the National Flood Insurance Program, referred to the building zoning official, town administrator, and town solicitor. Correspondence sent to DEM Director Coit regarding town ordinance regarding drinking water, reservoirs, and fishing tournament permits. Anything to be removed? I'd like to remove CA6. I'll entertain a motion on the rest of the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda for every item except CA6.
Second.
We have a motion and seconds. All those in favor? Okay. CA6 is a proclamation in appreciation of the Reverend Peter J. Andrews, and I would like to read that. Town of Tiverton, Rhode Island, Town Council. Proclamation, appreciation to Reverend Peter J. Andrews. Whereas Reverend Peter J. Andrews is originally from the city of Cranston, where he attended Cranston High School, and whereas Reverend Peter J. Andrews attended St. John's Seminary in Brighton, Massachusetts, and whereas Peter J. Andrews was ordained on November 18, 1988 at the Cathedral of St. Peter's and Paul in Providence, Rhode Island, and whereas Father Peter has served St. Francis de Sales Parish in North Kingstown, Immaculate Conception Parish in Westerly, and St. Jude Parish in Lincoln, as well as serving as the Director of Office of Worship for the Diocese of Providence, and was Secretary to the Bishop, and whereas Father Peter was assigned the 7th pastor of St. Teresa's Parish in Tiverton in July of 2000, and the first diocesan pastor of St. Christopher's Parish in September of 2303, and whereas Father Peter has ministered both parishes with over 800 families for 13 years with sincere compassion, caring, and love in all aspects of parish life, with family and youth, faith formation, and parish ministries, and whereas Father Peter has faithfully, caringly, and lovingly ministered to Tiverton families, youth, elderly, the sick, those in need of both material and spiritual help, and whereas Father Peter has earned a great sense of respect, love, and appreciation from all Tiverton residents, he tirelessly serves with compassion, caring, and love. And whereas Father Peter is known for walking his faithful companions, Keiko and Toby, and be it therefore proclaimed that every official and citizen of the town of Tiverton extends to Reverend Peter J. Andrews appreciation on his extraordinary ministry and service to the residents of Tiverton, and the very best wishes for his future endeavors. The Tiverton Town Council, June 24th, 2013. I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve consent agenda item number 6.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Motion passes. Chief, are you set?
Yeah, but Jay's not here.
So we're going to take it out of order. We'll begin with Chief Robert Lloyd, oaths for probationary firefighters William J. Barrett and Benjamin J. Welch.
I thought Jay had something to do with that.
Mr. President, I'd like to present to you William Barrett, J. Barrett, and Benjamin J. Welch, who are recruit firefighters. They have just completed 14 weeks of extensive training. They have issued with 4 different certificates: firefighter level 1, firefighter level 2, hazardous materials operation, and pump operator, plus completing the entire physical fitness portion of our program. And I'd like to present them to you for the oath of office.
Thank you. Okay, if you'll raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, state your name,
I, William Murphy,
do solemnly swear that I will support, enforce, and abide by the Constitution and laws of the United States of America and the state of Rhode Island, that I will in all respects observe the provisions of the charter and ordinances of the town of Tiverton, and will faithfully discharge the duties of probationary firefighter for the town of Tiverton. So help me God. So help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Best of luck. Representative John G. Edwards is running late, so we will take him when he comes in. Okay, our next is the open public forum for announcements, comments, and questions. First, we'll have Barbara Pelletier.
Good evening, everyone. Since we are open for tourism, and I think we should get our message out there much more clearly and much more aggressively, and I thought, and I checked with Nancy Mello and Mr. Gonzalo already, that if in the town hall we had a dedicated space where we put, and everybody in the town who has a brochure or any information could put it, it would be there and easily accessible. Maybe we could use half of that back there, or whatever works for everybody. And we'll have one of these flyer things, one of these, wave banners that we could, during at least the season, put up front, so that anyone going up to Fort Barton, etc., would know that there's information available. I think that's the clue. And with your approval, and it won't cost you anything, with your approval, can I move ahead?
I think we need to...
Yeah, unfortunately, the council can't approve it. This is public forum. You need to be, I think, submitting agenda requests for some of these items instead of just signing up for public forum, because the council can't take any action on anything that you come in public forum.
right,
If
I
you
see.
put it through the administrator, get it on the agenda, and have it listed, then they can vote to approve it, okay? But they
I
can't
understand the
take
protocol.
anything one way or, any action one way or another, okay?
Not a problem, I shall do that.
I was going to say, talk to Jim.
No, I did, and I didn't know what really the protocol was, and at the same time, I thought it would also, because we do need bed spaces for people to stay here, and hopefully we will build that hotel, but in the meantime, anybody who is operating a bed and breakfast can list themselves, and the information would be available, and I think you were going to check into the bed and breakfast thing anyhow.
Well, I know it's out there pending,
Right.
depending on that. But I just want to say, too, I think, too, also that the regular reports that you give about the Chamber of Commerce stuff and the Visitor Center, I think, are very good. But, again,
They should
I
be
think
on
they
the
should be on the agenda. You should be putting an agenda request to the public so that the public knows about it. The public forum is really for people who've got something It's not something they knew about in advance, they just got some complaint or something they want to bring up, called to the attention of the town. That's what it's for.
Well, actually,
Okay.
I was hesitant to do that because I didn't really want to take that much of your time and energy and effort and whatever. But in any case, we also, on the dog park situation, Mr. Gonzalo and I have been in communication with the DOT, and we have gotten replies, actually, and it seems more positive than negative, probably. And this might be of great interest to you. I read this book, Dogging It in Rhode Island, and Tiverton has 2 listings in the book about our wonderful facilities where we can take them. So we're not all bad, and we're all moving in the same direction. And I think that's about it. So I will put it on the forum.
Great, thank you.
We should just make a note, Leona, that Nancy just keep a eye open. We can put a placeholder in for, I mean, it's pretty much every meeting.
Okay.
What do we know?
Shane Genru, Cynthia Avenue. Is Shane here? One more time, Shane Genro. Well, then we will move along. Okay, advertised public hearings. Jane Brito, Evelyn's Restaurant, public hearing for sound variance for outdoor music event Singing Out Against Hunger to take place on Friday, September 13th and Saturday, September 14th from 11:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. on Sunday, and Sunday, September 15th from 11:30 to 7 p.m. Hi, Jane.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
So, this is our 10th year coming to the town council, making the request for this sound variance because of the event is a music event. I think most of you are aware of. As you see, the dates are written. I don't know if you would like me to say them out loud. They're written on here. I believe that you have what I have. The decibel levels are now included in, and you know the decibel levels are recorded through the weekend, which seems to have worked out very well last year. And I don't really think much has changed.
Okay, anyone from the public?
Mr. President, David Holmes, Main Road. I'd like to know why these businesses are being requested to ask for this variance. Have you issued other licenses such as this in the town?
Yes. Yeah.
For who?
For them,
Yes, in the past,
Yeah.
correct.
St. Teresa's.
St. Teresa's.
Yeah.
How about the Four Corners?
I don't think we've had anything from Four Corners.
I don't think we've had.
I think it's unfair to ask these businesses that are doing something for charity to come before you each year when you don't regularly follow it through the other businesses in town.
Do you have specific
Yeah.
examples? I don't know.
Yeah, because
There are
it's a
outdoor
request.
venues that take place in the Four Corners, and for the record, I have no problem with them. Their music generally is good. Even though I'm a half a mile away, I can often hear it. But if they don't do it, these good people shouldn't have to do it.
We'll look into that.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
I fully support this, let me just say it, but just to challenge you a little bit, and this is my first time on the council, is it our responsibility, or is it our responsibility to go out and go find those people, or is it the responsibility of the individuals who are who should be securing the requisite permits or variances to come before the council and do that?
It's probably known who needs to do this, and it's not done. I'm simply asking why these folks have to come to you year after year when they're doing a good job for charity, and others are not. That's
Well,
all I'm asking.
Again, if they're not following the sound ordinance, that means they're not coming before the council as they should,
Outdoor entertainment.
you know?
No,
outdoor
there's a
entertainment.
Well,
difference.
no, right, the 10
Yeah, there's a
o'clock.
difference, yes, depends
Oh,
on
no,
the
no.
time.
Outdoor entertainment, there's a separate set of licensing requirements. And depending what's being required, whether it's commercial or not and so forth, you can actually get that license from the clerk. So if you're
Yeah.
just having a wedding or something like that, you can go to the clerk, one-time thing.
Correct, under Article
But you're
51.
required, anybody who's doing that is required to comply with the noise requirements. So if they're having some sort of live entertainment and the noise that's leaving their property is going to be above what the ordinance provides, they've got to come for one of these sound variances. Now, there may be other people out there who are not getting the sound variances, but I think, as you said, if no one's complaining about it, the town's not enforcing it. If someone complains about it,
Well, that's
we would
typical
certainly...
Tiverton.
Well, it's typical of every place,
Yeah.
because we don't stop every car that's going 1 mile over the speed limit, and we don't cite everyone who's 1 decibel over the limit, if it's not a problem.
We're also all not omnipotent and know what is going on at every establishment in town, and, you know,
You have someone that is under your employment who is supposed to be looking after some of that.
okay, I'm not having this conversation.
Well, I think
Fine,
there
bring it to your
really is one other point you have to remember as well as I do, that Singing Out Against Hunger has had a history, not one I ever supported, but has had a history before the town council. And I don't think I'm telling stories out of school or anything like that, but there was a time when a majority of the town council would have disapproved of this sound variance.
None of
So
them,
I
I
think
believe,
that
are here anymore.
I know. It's old history. But I think that's perhaps the reason why these people take the precaution of following the regulations very carefully, and we honor that.
And I respect that, and I think you should give them approval and extend it into infinity, and as long as they want to.
Well, unfortunately, none of us are going to be here for infinity, so we can only do it as they come up. But no, I understand. If someone does not request it or come before us, or we don't have a complaint, then unfortunately, we wouldn't know. I mean, and I'm sure Jane knows that we've supported them and will continue to do so. But
And I hope you
again,
would. I just feel that the others should be doing it too. And they are individuals that realize that there are rules in town, they just ignore them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else from the public? Once. Anyone else from the public? Anyone else from the public? Okay. Seeing no one else from the public, then I will entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the sound variance for outdoor music events Singing Out Against Hunger to take place on Friday, September 13th, and Saturday, September 14th, from 11:30 a.m. to 9 p.m., and Sunday, September 15th, from 11:30 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Second.
We have a motion and second. All those in favor? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Keep up the good work. Okay. Continuing as a public hearing, Lisa Machado, Coastal Roasters, public hearing for sound variance for outdoor music event, Singing Out Against Hunger, to take place on Saturday, September 14th, and Sunday, September 15th, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Hi, Lisa.
Hi.
Just give a little overview.
Okay, so, like you just read, just looking for a variance to have Singing Out Against Hunger at Coastal Roasters on Saturday and Sunday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Okay. All right, anyone from the public?
Yeah, I know.
David Holmes, Main Road, Mr. President.
Yes.
Ditto.
All right, thanks, Mr. Holmes. Anyone else from the public? Anyone else from the public? Anyone else from the public? Seeing no others, I'll close the public hearing. I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the sound variance for outdoor music events Singing Out Against Hunger to take place on Saturday, September 14th, and Sunday, September 15th, at Coastal Roasters, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Second?
We have a motion and second. All those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. Thanks, Lisa. Sitting as a Board of Licensing, non-advertised license, North Tiverton News, Harry Patel, 15 Main Road, requests approval of annual fireworks license, subject to meeting all legal requirements. Is Mr. Patel here? Hey, Chief?
Mr. President, this is also one that we're trying to catch up with from last year. Mr. Patel did have fireworks last year, he's selling it again, and we have done the inspection there, and we would recommend it.
Okay. Just before I call for motion, I just feel that Tiverton is becoming fireworks central. I mean, I think there's I just came up Main Road, and there's some guy waving a flag for fireworks.
The flag waver who was trying to get your attention to stop and by.
Yeah.
I do know that Newport Daily News will be doing a news article on this, and this was part of my concern when we brought forward the ordinance. Massachusetts does not allow fireworks. So for a company to come in here for just a few weeks is approximately a $30,000 bonus to them. So we are a haven to them. Unfortunately, the state law doesn't give us more latitude. We've kind of, in our ordinance that we looked at, has given us a little bit of a circumventing of that to the degree that you, as the Board of Licensing, have the right to license a sales license. We're not regulating fireworks, but licensing the sale of a product. So, yeah, they're here, and I think we're going to have more of them.
Mr. President, could I just ask a quick question of the chief?
Sure.
Chief, I don't know if you're the best person for this. Fireworks, aerial fireworks,
Not allowed.
ones that get shot off?
Not allowed. No. It's supposed to be all sparklers, ground
Yeah.
displays.
Yeah, not my
Quote,
neighborhood.
ground effects, and it comes under consumer fireworks, they call it.
What is it? I'm sorry?
They call it consumer fireworks.
And I don't know if this is for you or for the other chief, but do we police that at all? Like what they're selling? Because it's one thing to give the license, and then what you see is, and what I think gets not only a lot of the bad rap is from the public is a lot of these aerial fireworks that are just, frankly, they're loud, they're going off, they're dangerous. I don't know.
I won't speak for the chief or either chief, but I can guarantee you that they were not purchased in town. In fact, last night, there were some going off in town, but those, I mean, they're not allowed, and when they inspect, they're looking for that stuff, so.
Okay.
It's a very difficult catch-22. The state legislature put in a law that gives the state fire marshal control over it. We really can't control it on our level, with the exception of our ordinance, which asks them to get a sales license. I will give you a case in point, it will probably be cited in the Newport Daily News, that they cannot sell fireworks to anyone under 16 years of age. One of the local realtors told a reporter that they could sell to anyone 13 years of age. So I called the state fire marshal, said, you have to step in, you should run a sting on this because this is happening. He said, well, that's a local problem, have your police department take care of it. So the dichotomy of it is they want it on one hand, but they don't want it on the other. Then truth is, the chief and I are the ones who are stuck with this. It's here, it's not going away, simply because we're a border community and there are big dollars to be made. So when I say, and I'm sorry if I offend the fireworks manufacturers, I think the small businesses like North Tiverton News are one step, these smaller establishments that are trying to compete with these big businesses that are coming in here, and if they don't like it, I'm really sorry, but the big businesses are not doing Tiverton any favor whatsoever. They're not bringing any money into our community, they're not doing anything for us, and they're hurting these smaller businesses. I don't think we give them a free ride without making them work for it, my opinion.
Okay, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Anything else from the council? Okay, I will entertain a motion. Oh, I'm sorry, Chief Blake.
The only thing I would interject is add to that is the fact that the noise ordinance still is in effect, given even the ground fireworks after 10 o'clock, and the public should be aware that we will enforce that. We do have patrols on, they're made aware of it, and they'll confiscate anyone using aerial works or charge persons with that, so. Our noise complaints have gone up. People do realize they're legal to a sense, but after 10 o'clock, the noise complaints still come in, and actually they've increased.
Yeah. Cool. I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the annual fireworks license for North Tiverton News, Harry Patel, 15 Main Road, subject to meeting all legal requirements.
Second.
We have a motion and second. All those in favor? Motion carries. Excuse me. Appointments and resignations. Request for reappointment. Historical Cemetery Commission, not hysterical. Three-year term expiring 4/15/2016. David E. Bell Jr., 30 Patsy Street. Is Mr. Bell here? Okay, it's a reappointment. I'll entertain a motion.
I move to reappoint David E. Bell Jr. to the Historical Cemetery Commission for a 3-year term expiring 4/15/2016.
Second.
We have a motion and second. All those in favor? Send congratulations to Mr. Bell. Planning Board, 3-year term expiring 7/15/2016. Peter W. Core, 1148 Main Road. Is Mr. Core here? Okay, this is Planning Board.
So that
Yeah,
says
he wrote
Harbor
courses.
Commission slash.
He wrote Harbor Commission and Planning Board.
I believe he's the planning board's designee or liaison to the Harbor Commission, but
He
it's a
is.
planning board
Oh,
appointment.
okay.
I would move that we reappoint Peter Core to the planning board for a 3-year term expiring 7/15/16.
Second.
We have a motion and second. All those in favor? Motion carries. Tax Assessment Board of Review, 3-year term expiring 10/15/2016. Paul R. Karen, 170 Nanaquacket Road. Is Mr. Karen here? Okay. Any discussion? I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the reappointment of Paul R. Karen to the Tax Assessment Board of Review for a 3-year term expiring October 15th, 2016.
Second.
Have a motion and second. All those in favor? Motion carries. Again, same, Leona. Okay, request for appointment for boards with vacancies. Art Commission, 1 vacancy, 2-year term expiring 4/15/2015. Ruth A. Maderas, 48 Springer Avenue. Is Ruth Maderas here?
These are reappointments.
No, these are just with vacancies. We'll continue this one till our next meeting.
Send her notice maybe to be here.
Street Advisory Committee, 2 vacancies, 2-year term expiring 4/15/2015. We have 2 vacancies, only 1 candidate so far. Michael A. Normandin, 31 Cynthia Avenue. Is Mr. Normandin here?
Yeah, there he is.
Hi. How are you?
How you doing?
Good. Why don't you have a seat? Okay, the public out there doesn't have the same thing we have, so if you could just tell a little bit about yourself and why you're interested in being on the street committee.
I'm a 23-year resident of the town, currently retired, and I have time on my hands where I can participate in some of the town things, so I figured I could help the residents of the town, try to get some things done, you know?
Good. Okay. Anything else from any of the council?
Mr. President? May I?
Yes.
I just want to point out, I believe we have someone else from Cynthia Avenue that you previously appointed?
That was,
I
that
believe
was,
she's from Crandall Road.
it's
Right.
Crandall Road.
Crandall Road.
It's on the corner.
Okay. I just want to make sure that we make sure, because people will have to recuse themselves when they're involved in the issues,
Yeah.
and both specifically that particular street, and when we're dealing with the related issues. specifically of the, the particular things that are going to have a direct effect on them, they're going to have to recuse themselves from it. So we need to be careful to make sure that we have a quorum on the street committee of people who won't have to recuse themselves.
So it isn't.
Yeah, and you understand that, Mr. Nolan?
that's-
Yeah. Okay.
I understand that fully.
I move that we appoint Michael Normandin for a 2-year term to the Street Advisory Committee expiring 4/15/2005. I'm sorry, 2015.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Congratulations,
Thanks very
welcome.
much.
Thank you.
Juvenile Hearing Board, second alternate, 3-year term expiring 10/15/2016. Oh, I'm going to, Constance Fleckenstein, 58 Cottage Avenue. Is Constance here? Hi, Constance. I'm sorry if I butchered your last name.
Fleckenstein,
Okay.
but that's okay.
Uh,
I can call many things.
Again, the people out there don't have what we have in front of them. So if you could tell a little bit about yourself and your interest and so forth.
Okay, I'm retired.
Oh, could you use the microphone? Thanks.
I'm retired, and I enjoy working with people. I just recently retired from working with Riverwood Mental Health Services. I have an associate's degree in criminal justice from Bristol Community College, and I majored in justice studies at Rhode Island College. I worked with adolescents when I got out of college for the KEY program in Fall River, Massachusetts, and I enjoy working with adolescents. And I think I can contribute a lot.
Great. Okay, anything from the council?
No?
Well, thank you so much for your interest. Okay, I will entertain a motion.
I move that we appoint for a 2-year term, 3-year term expiring 10/15/2016, Constance Fleckenstein or Stein?
Fleckenstein.
Fleckenstein, to the Juvenile Hearing Board, as second alternate.
Second.
We have a motion and double seconds. All those in favor? Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, nothing under unfinished business. Financial business, town administrator requests authorization to transfer all remaining unspent and unencumbered balances in the DPW operational funds accounts for year 1213 to account 554794 paving. Also carry forward funds for FY 13 forward and release funds to paving.
You can do this, right?
Jim?
This was the resolve that was on the financial town referendum, and all I'm trying to do is carry it through, and there's a group of accounts in the DPW budget that any remaining funds are able to be transferred to paving, and at the same time, I would like to ask the council to release those funds so that we can use them as necessary.
Okay, Jim, how much are we transferring?
I don't know, it's whatever the balances are, and it's a moving target right now.
You're probably not going to know until July sometime, when all the accounts
Beginning of
resolve.
July, once we get a report from the treasurer.
That'll be good, though.
Because there are encumbrances
Yeah.
coming in, there were transfers coming in.
Okay. Okay, I will entertain a motion.
Jim, I just...
Well, we need a motion, then we can discuss.
So moved.
Okay. we have
Second.
a motion. A second discussion? Okay. Now,
Jim, sorry. I'll get it. It's only 6 months in. Okay. Jim, I was just curious, do we have a sense of how much we've spent so far in paving so far this year?
Where is he? It's in here.
And I guess the second part of that question is would we be looking to take any of those unspent and unencumbered balances that we would move over into paving? Would we be looking to exhaust that fully this year? Try to get as
Yes.
much? Okay.
I mean, that happens by default whether we approve it or not, right? Or do we still have to approve it?
I would assume you have to approve the transfer.
It was resolved, but the council still has to take action on it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it just sits.
See where Are they on?
That's why we're...
I may help.
I don't know if we can do anything about the heat.
The quick answer is all of it. There's nothing left, and I think the total, when you added everything up, was around $170,000, plus or minus, right in there.
That's minus anything encumbered?
That, beg your pardon?
Is that minus anything encumbered?
We have encumbered funds that we haven't paid bills for, we just did paving, but all the funds that we had available has been either spent or encumbered for this fiscal year.
And that was 160,000, is that what you're saying, or?
I'm guessing around that
Yeah.
number. I don't have the number.
Of
For
paving.
paving.
Paving,
Yeah,
everything in
160.
paving and everything in drainage.
Yeah.
They're under the same item number, so all of it's spent.
Okay.
So 140.
That answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Anything else from the council? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Motion carries. Town Administrator, request approval of transfer of $21,000 from account 219266, Group Health Insurance, to account number 219520, Town Building Personal Property Insurance.
Last year, when we were formulating the budget for FY 12-13, we had a quote or an estimate from the trust as to what our liability insurance would cost. And that's what I used for the budget. When it actually came in, it was $21,000 higher. So we have paid it, and I was waiting till now to find the money to transfer. And that's why I'm asking for that transfer, is to cover the additional cost for the building and property insurance.
Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Yeah, I just have a question, Jim. So that, out of the group health insurance, then, we actually came in below budget?
Right.
Okay. Is that the total amount of $21,000?
No, it's more than that.
More than that?
Right.
Okay.
Because we've been taking advantage of the Blue Solutions health plan.
Okay, great. Okay. Anybody else? Anything else from the council?
No.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Thanks, Jim. Chief Blakey, request authorization to transfer $8,313 from account 333-101, police salary, to account 333-167, uniform equipment. Chief?
Thank you, Mr. President. This is to, I'll be using these funds in conjunction with the grant we have to purchase expired bulletproof vests. They do expire after 5 years, shelf life, if you will. And that's what I'll be doing with the money.
Okay. I don't want to seem naive, Chief, but how does a bulletproof vest kind of lose its shelf life?
They actually, if keeping them in the car, the heel break them down, the Kevlar breaks down over a period of time, like anything else. You don't want to try to, that's not like drinking milk that's going past the expiration date, you don't
No,
get a
you don't
second
want
chance.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
We do try to replace them, we actually try to replace them on a cycle of a third of the department every 5 years. About 5 years ago, there was a recall, and they took back everything, so some of them would have to expire, actually replace the majority of them this year.
Good, okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Chief. Chief Lloyd, request authorization to transfer funds to cover unanticipated expenses on record server, $3,000 from account 331610 heat, and $5,000 from account 331668 medical physicals to account 331670 software maintenance.
Yes, well, we share the same server with the police department, which keeps all of our records. Their dispatchers log in our records. The chief's server was hit earlier in the year by one of the storms, I don't remember if it was Sandy or Nemo or one of them, and these are the ongoing repairs that we're doing to try to get the server back up and running, to get all our records and stuff back up. We knew it was going to be expensive, but we have one vendor that we have worked with because of the security the chief has on the system down there.
All right, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
You sure you're not going to use that money for heat in the next week or two?
I'm feeling a little cold right now, I may need some. I don't know how you're sitting there, Mr. Pelletier, that's around, I'm dying.
Chief, do you think this is going to get us where we need to be?
From the quote I have right now from him, yes. Keeping my fingers crossed.
Okay, any others from the council? We have a motion and second. All those in favor? Thank you. Thank you, Chief. New business, Town Administrator, Rhode Island Emergency Management Agency grant.
We have an opportunity with a grant to update our emergency management agency, or our hazard mitigation plan. The last time it was done was in 2005. And we've got the opportunity for a $20,000 grant. And the council has requested, to know what our portion of it would be, and our portion is $5,000, which we can use in kind. And because it's been, 8 years since we've updated this, we need to do it, and the opportunity for the grant is there. So I'm looking to inform the council that I would like to be executing this grant.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
So we're talking no money out of our pockets, essentially, or?
Well,
No, it's
Hopefully
5,000.
not.
it will be in kind that we can use, hopefully not.
Yeah, so it would be, just for argument's sake, like the chief or someone doing something to prepare for this or something like that?
We'll use their time with an overhead applied to it.
Just if I can answer any questions, again, it's the governing document that helps us get EMA grants. It has to be done, it was supposed to have been redone. I had applied for the $20,000. The documents I believe that you have are just the actual forms that go with every grant that EMA gives out, that just get signed to say we understand what theirs are. There are sub-rules to that through it. I do have an individual that's just signed on with Tiverton EMA that has some history in this, and I'm looking to try to get her more involved in helping out to do this. We have to get the document done, so if we can utilize the resources we have, I think it would be beneficial.
Okay, great. Thanks, chief. Okay, we have a motion and second. Any more discussion?
I just had a quick question. Can someone just help enlighten me on what an example of an in-kind, service might be to match this $5,000? And do we have?
My time, if I put in
Okay.
time, my time dedicated to this is an in-kind service.
Okay.
If we are using printing costs, if we are putting together booklets, we are allowing the space to be used to put this together. That's all things that we can apply towards the grant itself.
And you can absorb that?
I'm hoping so.
Okay.
It's EMA, it changes as it goes along.
All right. Thank you.
Anything else from the council? Okay, all those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, Town Administrator, ratification of an amendment to wastewater management superintendent contract, memorandum of agreement revising life insurance from $50,000 to $100,000.
At the last meeting, the contract was ratified by the council for the wastewater superintendent, and a comment was made that the council hoped that the insurance could be increased to $100,000 from $50,000, and that's what this does.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? I just have a quick question, Jim. Is there, I'm sure it's minimal extra cost?
$32 more a month.
Okay. And we've got the budget for that?
Yes.
That's what he had.
Okay. else from the council? Okay, all those in favor? Motion passes.
Did you see this?
Town Administrator, bids, requests, and proposals. Request to award bid to North Tiverton 4. I'm sorry. I'm
Municipal
sorry.
clerk.
This one, sorry. Town Administrator, ratification of a municipal court clerk contract, 1 year, July 1, 2013 to June 30, 2014. Eugene Gauthier, notice per charter. And we have a letter from Nancy.
The municipal court clerk is a 12-hour per week position, and the actual municipal court clerk is the town clerk, but he assists her, and in the past, he's had an annual contract, and the council once again desired that he have a council contract again, so I brought his contract up to date with a 3% salary increase.
Okay, I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Okay, seeing
So,
none?
I'm just, so Jim, the 1440 per hour, that reflects the 3%?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Gullik?
No, thank you.
Anything else from anyone else on the council? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, before we melt here. Okay, bids and requests for proposals. Town Administrator, request to award bid for North Tiverton Fire Station roof reshingle to Estrella's Home Improvements, 46 Fairfield Avenue, Tiverton, in the amount of $18,250.
At the FTR, the Budget Committee recommended $21,000 for the reshingling of the fire station roof. That's the North Tiverton Fire Station. We went out and we advertised, and to strip the roof, to apply 3 feet of ice and water shield along the bottom, also along the sides, all the way up. Then to cover it with tar paper, and we're using lifetime shingles, architectural shingles, and all new flashing, and there will be an 8-inch drip edge, and this is being done by a licensed and insured $1 million worth of insurance company, who also happens to be a Tiverton resident, and the sum is $18,250. So there is, I will say that there is nothing in here for any rotted wood that's underneath the shingles that we are unable to see at this point, but we do have some leeway, some additional funds there in case there are some. And we would intend to award this contract quickly, before it rains again.
Chief?
Mr. President, if I could just have one clarification, because during the discussions in the budget process, it was discussed that this was only half the roof. Are we looking at the entire roof?
We're looking at the entire
Yeah.
roof.
my
Thank you,
understanding
that's
was
all
that
I
it
need
went
to
the
know.
whole roof, yes. Okay.
The only thing I would request is this certificate of insurance is from January, and it's also issued to the state of Rhode Island. Presumably, we will request an updated certificate of insurance with us as the insured part, or rather the beneficiary.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second,
Okay, discussion.
might I just request of you to include that we, have a up-to-date and a certificate of insurance that names us as a party?
Would you like to make the motion?
It doesn't matter, you can just amend your motion.
Sure, I'd like to amend my motion that we, sorry,
Include the certificate of liability updated with us as the certificate holder.
exactly what the council president just said.
Second.
And I will...
I will also say.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, I also, just a question on contingency. Because are we going to state the completed price is 18,000, or are we going to allow for leeway?
The shingling is $18,250. The only thing that's not included here is once they remove the shingles, if there are any rotted boards that need to be replaced, then that'll be an additional cost.
So I think we should amend it to say $18,250, but not to exceed
21,000.
21,000 was the amount? Yeah, not to exceed 21,000
Right.
per resolution. Okay.
I'd like to further amend my motion to include a cap that the cost not exceed the FTR approved amount of $21,000.
I will second that for the third time.
If I can make a comment, what happens if we uncover it and we find more rotted wood than
You'll
we
have to come before the
expect?
council.
Well, and it exceeds $21,000, but we find funding in our budget to cover it.
You still have to come before the council.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion. I hope Leona has it. And a second. All those in favor? Oh, I'm
Just
sorry.
discussion. I don't think that the certificate holder makes any difference as far as this document goes. The liability insurance is for the insured to cover any work he's doing. I
Right,
think
but
it just there's a copy sent to the state to be the certificate holder. But if you read the first paragraph in the certificate, it doesn't mean that there's any contract between this document and the certificate holder.
No, I appreciate that. But what I'm saying is this document is in excess of 6 months old. It may not even still be in effect, and I want to hedge our bets and make sure that that is not the case by requesting an updated certificate of insurance, and while we're at it, putting us as the additional insured party, so that we don't have any hiccups.
And, we can do that. That's not an issue. It wouldn't be in this package, though, because he wouldn't go through that until he was awarded the contract.
No, that's not necessarily true. Every bid that I've ever put my name on, I've always included, with any state or governmental agency, I've always included, an up-to-date certificate with that particular agency as the insured party or co-insured party.
Well, we will get it for sure.
That's all I want.
Anything else? Okay, we have motion and second. All those in favor? Passes. Okay. Let's move right along. Town Administrator, items and announcements.
Well, we're still looking for another volunteer for the Street Advisory Committee. The second item is our new website will be going live July 1st, or very close to July 1st. There's been a little issue with Rhode-Island.gov that they've got to straighten out. But it's
Charging tolls for the...
We're going to put a picture of the gantry. But it's looking very close to July 1st, it'll go live. I guess Barbara Pelletier already mentioned about the dog park, and we have someone from the state who is very interested in working with us to establish the dog park behind the DOT Park and Ride. We have an opportunity with the new fuel monitoring system. we could possibly trade the old tank in from the police station. That would reduce our cost. Not sure yet, but traditionally, when we get rid of excess equipment, we put a bid request in the newspaper, we go out for bids. But this is such a unique item, I don't know how many people are going to bid and take the old tank. As a matter of fact, I think it's going to be the DPW tank? That's the smaller one, correct, Steve? The DPW gas tank, not the diesel, is the smaller of the two, correct?
That's correct.
So we would move the larger, the police tank, over to the highway garage, and then we'd have to dispose somehow of the smaller tank. So if it's possible to trade it in, or, you know, if the installer has a place for it and he's willing to give us money, I think we should accept it.
Sure.
So I'm just, you know, trying to make you aware of that. The next item is we are going to begin computer training for our staff. Last year, we had a course for our managers. We're going to begin in August with a course in Microsoft Office for the rest of our employees in Town Hall and, you know, highway or wherever. So we're beginning that in August. You had requested at the last meeting, you were interested in knowing what the actual costs to date were for wastewater management versus their budget. I had that on your table today. One side will reflect the new budget, the old budget, and the other side will reflect their actuals. So you can review that. Any questions, let me know. That's all I have. Thank you.
Town clerk? Council announcements, comments, questions? Great. Town solicitor?
Thank you, Mr. President. K1 is response to your request. This was, I think, originally put forward by Councilor Gerlach, but about establishing a committee to move forward from the September 8th Planning and Zoning Workshop. So I prepared a draft resolution for you establishing the Ad Hoc Land Use Procedural Improvements Committee. And I know that's a mouthful, but I've tried to describe what it is for, which I think is specifically the procedural improvements, not so much the substantive issues, which are the province of other boards and commissions, but the procedural issues. So I've proposed a committee with the purpose of further research and investigating the issues identified in the Cecil Group compilation, divide out the short-term procedural ideas from the long-term procedural ideas, and from the comprehensive plan concerns. A lot of those issues were comprehensive plan concerns. Develop a referral of the comprehensive plan concerns to the Comprehensive Plan Advisory Committee, and develop a set of recommendations to implement the short and long-term ideas and recommendations and timeframes and responsible parties for each of those two ideas as well. Membership, tried to keep it somewhat small. The town administrator chairing it, since this is going to be basically directing town staff members, most of these procedural elements. The administrative officer and the zoning enforcement officer, myself, I've volunteered myself on this, I think that'd be important, and the chair or designee from the planning board and the zoning board, and one member of the town council appointed by the town council ex officio. And report recommendations no later than December 1st, 2013. And just in case, give another 7 months of existence to the committee going out of business June 30, 2014. So it's your pleasure, whatever changes you want, or go forward with it.
Any discussion from the council?
Mr. President, I just have a couple of things. First of all, Andy, thank you for throwing this together. You know, I've chewed on this since talking it through and reading it through, and I know we're trying to keep this group small and nimble. But, you know, something that, you know, really sticks out for me is the fact that this ad hoc committee is really focused on the procedural improvements. And so when I think procedure, I think, you know, those people who are the end users of the procedures and who probably have, you know, the most, I don't want to say most at stake, but the most, you know, kind of, I don't know what it is I'm trying to say, but most at stake, I'll say for now. So I know we're trying to keep it small, but, you know, I've kind of gone back and forth on this a couple times, and I do think that there is some value, and I open it up for the rest of the council. You know, I welcome your input on this. Whether or not we, you know, we want to keep it at an odd number, whether we could increase this to 9 and include 2 members of the public, only to try to keep that sense of, you know, all of these folks who are on there now have responsibility for, you know, making sure that these procedures kind of get followed. But if we're trying to get new ideas and kind of new insights and new perspectives on the procedures themselves, I still think it might be valuable to have some folks from outside the circle, if you will, participate on this. And so I kind of open it up.
Yeah, well, I'll jump in first. My understanding of this ad hoc committee is basically to digest all the information that we have, which was from the public. And I think what happens when you continue to engage and think, it never gets done. Because we have all the information, and now we're looking for a group to digest that information, put it into procedures that work. We've already been told what doesn't work by the populace.
Sure.
You know, and being here for a while, and I'm sure Mr. Lambert can attest, sometimes it gets too unwieldy because nothing ever gets finished, because there's always one more thing I want to change, one more thing I want to add, one more thing that's not happening. You know, so I would stand with the group as it stands, myself. Anyone else?
I think I'm amenable either way. The one thing that I'm just thinking about out loud is, in the event that we do, you know, include 2 members of the public, what is the process and criteria for finding those 2 members, for appointing those 2 members, and I'm not sure I understand exactly what the virtue of having those 2 members of the public is, because I think we sometimes think that having public input is virtuous, and it is, but it's the input of 2 individuals, and I'm trying to foresee how that is representative of the populace, or how that helps, and I'm happy to be convinced that way. But what are your thoughts about how we get those people and who they are, and we just call out and say, sign up? And
Yeah, no, I understand the logistical issues there.
I mean, I'm just saying, because you know, what
Perhaps it's-
in the event we get 20 people who are interested in being on this committee, what on earth is the criteria for
Sure.
determining which 2 out of the 20 you know, get to have their voice on this committee, and why do we deny other people?
Sure.
That's just a thought. It might not happen, but it's a thought.
No, I see your point. I think, you know, if I were to think this through, perhaps individuals from the public might have a professional capacity that aligns with this. You know, maybe it's a developer, maybe it's a real estate you know what I mean? Someone who has some baseline knowledge of, you know, what it is we're talking about, or who has had some amount of direct exposure or experience with the procedures and processes that we're trying to improve here.
Mhm.
And Mr. President, I understand that, this is, came from the public, and I certainly don't want to belabor the issue here. I want to try to ensure that, we're kind of gut checking this as we go along and want to make sure that the actual improvements we make are of enough substance that there's actually a difference and folks in the public domain can feel that at the end of the day.
I think there's an opportunity at, these are public meetings. They're going to be open public meetings, and in the way you craft the meeting, if there's an opportunity for public input, I mean, that's
Sure.
wonderful too. Getting anybody who wants to come. I mean, you can have that either way, including some amount of public debate. Even if it's just to get somebody in, they say, 10 sentences and you write down your notes and it's in the minutes and you take that and digest it and go from there.
Sure.
On the flip side, I really think you need to review this. If it's only the people that are involved in the process who are directing the process, then you're not really getting the feedback from people who actually use the process. So I think you really need that other perspective, and having the public, at least a couple members of the public participate, I think is a good idea. It's a sounding board to that public representation on this committee for changes, because this could make the process worse if we don't have that feedback from people who use the process, not the people dictating the process.
Yeah, no, I understand it, but my understanding of what this is to do is to digest all the input we've gotten from the public in regards to the procedures, and then to put it into a format to set new procedures that coincide with what the public has been asking of us. So I'm saying that's what this is supposed to do. And by having open meetings, which I assume there will be, then you can get public input then. But I think that process is done. Now it's a matter of looking at it, gathering it all, putting it in order. All we have right now is page after page of this doesn't work, and suggestions of what they think would work. So we need these people who are on the other end to put those in some semblance of order as to, in my opinion, as to what would work, might work, and so forth. I don't see that as being the end-all, be-all, because I would assume we'd either have one more hearing or one more workshop once it's all complete and say, here's what we've gleaned from the CESL group and their issues, and now this is what we think is going to work, and then the public has its opportunity. I just know from past experience that it never gets finished, because no one is going to be satisfied. And it's just going to be continuing. Well, I don't like that, let's change this. Well, then it just continues and continues. This group, in my estimation, is to put all that together, lay it out and say, these are what the new procedures should be based on the public input that we have, then put it forth before the public and say, this is what it looks like. And then, if they don't agree, then you can take more input. Sure. But I think just to keep adding bodies to a committee, it just becomes cumbersome, and like I said, my opinion is that it won't end.
And so can we ensure that when the committee makes its final report, or at some point in and around that time, that there is a public forum or a workshop or something?
We can schedule, it can be requested.
Sure. I just think, my perspective, and again, I don't want to belabor it, and I'll stop arguing, but I just want to make sure that whatever comes out of this committee does have that ability to be gut checked again in a public forum, so that, we continue to make sure that whatever we put forth is as user-friendly as possible at the end of the day. That's all.
I mean, I think you could create, certainly this Land Use Procedural Improvements Committee could, as the last duty, have a public hearing and say, these are the recommendations we're going to make. This is going to be our product, and you just sort of vet all of those ideas. Is that not a reasonable thing to do?
Well,
No, it's not.
It's not unreasonable.
Okay.
But I think that's the idea of number 3, that the committee is going to report its referrals and recommendations as set forth in 1C, 1D, and E to the town council by December 1st. And if you want the public hearing, I would add it there.
Yeah.
And the town council shall
Well, there.
subsequently hold a public hearing. I don't really see the point in having this committee hold a public hearing.
Sure.
We
Well,
had,
that's
we had the
fine.
public, but if you want to make it clear, I mean, I always anticipate, as I said, it comes back to the town council. It's not like it's getting sent off to nowhere, it is going to come, well, maybe getting sent off
Yeah.
nowhere, but it's coming back to the town council. And if you want to specify that it gets scheduled for a public hearing.
Well, I think that's
following that,
probably,
that's fine, too.
probably best. In that way, it compels the council to have a hearing, to vet the ideas and take any more public input. So if you could add something in there, that would probably be the easiest and most painless way of doing it. You know, be delivered by December 1st, 2013, and a public hearing to be scheduled no longer than 60 or 90 days after receipt or something like that. Because we're right in the middle of the holidays at
Yeah, how about,
December.
and the town council shall hold a public hearing thereafter, without putting a time limit on it specifically that we have to worry about violating.
I think a time limit is.
Yeah, 'cause that would compel
We've
us
kicked
to
this
do it.
can quite a bit here.
Okay,
Just say 90 days,
within 90 days.
because then they're going to be they're going
Okay, I
to
mean, it's
go
you,
away,
you're
you
the,
know.
you're
Yeah,
the town
yeah,
council, you're doing the
yeah.
resolution, so if you don't do it, there's
Yeah.
no thing anyway, but fine.
Yeah.
And the town council shall hold a public hearing within 90 days.
Okay,
We'll add that to the end of
I'm-
number 3.
Number 3, I'm amenable to that. Anything else from the council? If not, then I will entertain a motion regarding the resolution as amended.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, before we go to the draft application, I see that the Honorable State Representative John G. Edwards has arrived. Representative Edwards?
Almost missed it.
Thank you. This is going to be one of the quickest ins and out. Gives me great pleasure, on behalf of the General Assembly, Senators Felag, DePalma, Representative Canario, and myself, to present this Tiverton Senior Center with a check for, oh my gosh, it's $2,000.
Representative Edwards, on behalf of the Town Council and the Town of Tiverton, please extend our thanks and gratitude to the legislature.
I will. And also, I understand you had some questions on House Bill 5394.
We do, but we'll take them at a later date.
Okay, just so you'll know, House Bill 5394 has already passed the House, and it's on its way to the Senate, and it should be at the governor's desk pretty quick. So, but to allay any of your concerns on that particular piece of legislation, it is not retroactive. Any permit that comes after July 1st of 2013 will be affected. And basically what it does, it's allowing contract, you have empty land that's not getting any more than X amount of dollars right now. It allows a contractor to come in and put a spec house only on it, and that would be the item. If you're building a house for me and we're in a contract, that house would continue to be taxable as it accrues. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Town Solicitor, a draft application for fishing tournament permit on drinking water supply reservoir, Stafford Pond.
Yes. This is to implement the ordinance passed at your last meeting, requiring permits for fishing tournaments. We put the application together. It basically follows the form of the ordinance that you passed, what information you're collecting. I've tried to put the pertinent information from the ordinance right on the form so people don't have to go looking for it, including the stuff on the back about the please note that comes right from the ordinance. And so, would you okay with be putting that into effect?
Okay, I just have a couple of questions. How are they going to get this, or,
Well, Councilor Gerlach may want to answer that.
Sure, so I submitted correspondence to Director Coit, Associate Director Sparks, alerting them to the new town ordinance and requesting their assistance in communicating out to those tournament holders that have scheduled tournaments for the balance of the season, because we are not privy to all of the pertinent contact information. Asking the DEM to submit correspondence to them, alerting those folks as to the new ordinance, and the steps they'll need to take.
Okay. But we have no way to guarantee that they will.
No, we believe, I think, based on our so far good relations with them, that they will, and if not, I guess we'll have to, if we can't do it the easy way, we'll be probably doing it the hard way, and we'll send the police chief down to the docks on Saturday mornings with one of these in hand, telling them to fill it out.
And just that, I think we all recognize that there's a bit of a kind of a time frame here where we need to let folks know about it. And so, I'm waiting to hear back if there's any response to the email, which is a copy of the email that was in the packet to everyone. And if I don't hear from them in a week or so, then, I'll follow up and make sure that they understand it and see if they've been able to communicate out to folks, and, we'll keep pushing it.
This might be a stupid question, but do we suspect that anyone might, instead of doing this, decide to hold more than one fishing tournament simultaneously? This isn't onerous or anything, but I mean, do we think that by saying any tournament over more than 6 boats, instead someone comes in and says, well, actually, I'm having 10 fishing tournaments
with 5 boats.
But only one is being permitted at a time by DEM.
Okay.
Yeah, so
all right.
this.
So they first file with them, and they can't fiddle around with their. All right. Okay.
Yeah. You might not have simultaneous, but you might have 2 tournaments that happen one after the other on the same day. You know what I mean? Whether or not they're the same organizer, could be different.
Right. And this doesn't stop 3 or 4 people who want to get together and say, okay, we're all going to take our boats to Stafford Pond next weekend. We're not regulating that. But those people will be limited by all the existing horsepower limits.
All right, I'll entertain a motion.
You don't need a motion, for your
Just an
information.
application. Okay, done. Okay, already asked Leona, we're set
Mr.
with
President,
that. Yes.
would you like us to send letters to those that did not seek reappointment? Thank you letters for your
Yes.
service.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Yes, please, thank you. Okay, close executive session. Mr. Lambert.
I move that we go into closed executive session pursuant to Rhode Island law, Chapter 42465A2, civil action litigation, Odell et al. Versus Robert et al.
Second.
All those in favor?
And stay in executive session pursuant to Rhode Island general law, litigation, Chapter 42, Section 465A2, Ray Secana River Bridge tolls.
Second.
All those in favor?
And stay in executive session pursuant to Rhode Island general law, Chapter 42, Section 465A6, Ray Prospective Business or Industry, Industrial Park.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yeah, before you bang the gavel, let me just note for the record, Mr. Oliverio was on his way here. I didn't expect us to get through this early. He should be here by 8:30 even, but
He's got until 8:29 and a half.
well, we'll just take it, just for the record note, we'll take him out of order, take the other items